Hey everyone, thank you for joining me in this video. I'm going to be showing you how to tan a deer hide. This is one that I did fur on last year to make a deer skin rug. Let's get started. Here's the hide I'll be working with in this video. This is a buck that was shot 2 weeks ago, only a couple hundred yards from where I'm standing right now. The meat was processed at a local slaughterhouse. We requested the hide be saved, so we got the meat and the hide back only a couple days ago, dropped it all in the deep freezer, and now I'm ready to work on the hide. So pull it out, let it thaw out, and then we'll move on to the next step. The hide is now trimmed. I can end up trimming it a little later, but I've got it trimmed up enough for now. Left over with some meat, some membrane, and some fat stuck on the underside of the skin. And there's a lot of different ways to go about this. One of them is you can just scrape it all off by hand, and you can look up fleshing tools online for that. But I am going to be using a pressure washer with the turbo nozzle. For a pressure washer, it's nothing special. Just a Ryobi from Home Depot. This one is 2,000 PSI. I don't even think you would need to have one that high. But you don't need to go but so high, or you can rip a hole right through the skin. This is plenty. There you go. Now hold it right here with the other hand.
I don't want to.
Here, I'll help hold it for you. Okay. You squeeze that with both hands and I'll help you steer. You're going to get a little bit of water will get on you. So go ahead. All the way. What happened? All right, I'll do it.
No, I like it.
The next step in the process is applying salt, and I'll just be applying plain salt. So I just buy a bunch of these from Walmart, the type that does not have iodide added to it. And I'm going to apply about a 1/4 inch or so, basically covering the whole thing, smoothing it over, working it into the entire surface, including the edges. hung the deer hide over the shower curtain after it had been salted for a while, just to where all the moisture that was being pulled out of the hide would drip off. This gives you an idea of how much came out of it. And this is after it hung for hours outside, basically in the same orientation. So the salt really does draw quite a bit out of it. So I'm gonna go outside, shake the loose salt that's still on it off, and reapply. The hide has been pickling for over 48 hours. The next step is to neutralize that acid using baking soda. Neutralizing has begun, and I'll just keep it kind of moving around, keep everything agitated. And the whole purpose of this is to bring down the pH. And there's all different types of answers when you Google this about how long you should do it. But somewhere around 20-30 minutes is what some people say, and then some people say days. But I'm going to err on the side of lesser because I want to get this neutralized. I want to try to get the bulk of the water out of it, and then the tanning solution applied within the next couple hours before I have to leave to go on a short trip. Next up is applying the tanning solution. I'm using New Tan from Advanced Tanning Solutions, and all the directions are on the bottle. So just follow the directions of whatever tan you use, but basically I will be pouring it onto the back of the deer and then smoothing it out with my hand. Well, I think for video purposes, the hide is done. I'm going to continue the breaking process. But I've certainly got something to show you. It's all dry now. What I did not do on this hide that I did better on my first one is I stretched this one better than I did this one as it was drying. So when you put the tanning solution on, you fold it skin to skin, let it sit for 24 hours, and then open it up. And then I hung it over a handrail just like this. And then sort of as it starts to dry, you start to stretch the hide in width and length, and then you'll see an actual change in it. As you stretch it, it looks like it turns white, where it's sort of breaking down those fibers a little bit. And you do this the entire time it's drying. And then once it is dry, you're gonna start breaking the hide. That could be taking it over the edge of a table or a board, or rolling it up, folding it up, and kind of kneeling on it. Just work it around the best you can, and you're just gradually kind of making the hide more flexible. So I'll show you the difference between my first and then this being the second hide. So my fingers are right here, and you can see there's still enough structure in this hide, a stiffness, that it can do what it's doing. It's stiff enough to stay up like that. Versus the first one that I did, that I obsessed on a lot more, just drapes right over. This is much more like a sort of a heavy piece of fabric, very, very flexible. It's soft feeling, it's not crinkly, you can hear the difference. Versus this one, when I work it, it's like some sort of really, really heavy canvas tarp or something is what it sounds like. So this one did not get stretched enough, and then, so I'm not sure if me doing the breaking process could compensate for that. And I think the stretching is also what's going to make it be able to lay flatter, because when the hides are wet, you can stretch them out and they'll lay dead flat. But then as it starts to dry, they're going to shrink unevenly because there's different, I guess, thicknesses in the hide. Because you can imagine, like, when I've got this laid out flat and it's wet, it's just like one single plane, meaning just dead flat, like a sheet of paper. Now try wrapping a sheet of paper around a deer. It's just not going to work out. So the hide is sort of, there's variation in how it's being stretched when it's around a deer, and all that shape doesn't translate perfect out to laying flat on your floor. Making sure you do the stretching process really good is an important step. And I'm gonna experiment with this one by trying to re-wet the hide just a little bit and seeing if I can kind of re-stretch it and then re-break it. But really, even as it is, it's perfectly fine. I could just continue to break it a little bit by bending it around, good enough just to be a rug that sits on the floor and just gets walked on. But just handling it more and more and more, I think, will aid that. But I think it'd be a cool experiment to try to re-wet it. And with this particular tanning solution, I think that will be perfectly fine. My biggest takeaway on this one, what I learned the most on this one, the first one I learned, I'll say everything. There was nothing new. I mean, there was nothing familiar about doing it the first time. But then on that second go, look at the difference. Pressure washer is the answer. Pressure washer, it is faster. It might seem slow while you're doing it, but hand scrape a hide and you'll see what slow really is. It's faster, it's cleaner. While you're hand scraping, I dropped it in the dirt one time and there's just stuff all over it. With a pressure washer, if you get it dirty, you just blast it off. It's continually cleaner. It just only gets cleaner as you're working it. There's certain times when you're doing the hand scraping, it just seems like no matter what you do, you just keep getting it dirtier and dirtier. And it just has this yellowiness to it. I think there's probably still some membrane left on it. That could be skill level issues. But I will say this is probably much more natural looking and more in keeping to somebody doing this out of necessity. I think a lot of people probably think that a lot of people in the past doing things more primitive, that they were just like, everything was just beautifully crafted and perfect and their technique was flawless. There's probably a lot of stuff where they were just out of necessity trying to get it done, and they weren't worried whether the skin looked like this or like this, because the function was going to be the same. I've heard a lot of people say with a lot of crafts, whether it be in woodworking and engraving, that that people have lost skill, that no one is as good as they used to be in certain things. And I think it's probably the opposite. I think with the whatever the word is, the availability of information, the ability for someone on one side of the world to access the knowledge of some master in a technique on the other side of the world, I think probably there's some of the best work ever being done in the history of time in things that are considered primitive now, or artwork, crafts of furniture, textiles, ceramics. There's ways to control things now that you weren't able to do in the past. So you've got all the tools that they had in the past, but now you've got all the modern advancements of it. So I don't know how that exactly applies to tanning. Well, I guess the tanning solutions would be one of them. Watching a video on YouTube and seeing exactly how somebody is doing it, not experimenting and figuring it out yourself. So yeah, so this isn't really meant to be a tutorial, but it's just sort of showing you this is 1 and 2. I've only done 2, first and second one, and I'm getting good results. So if it's something you're interested in, I'm sure you can do it yourself. Get a pressure washer if you can. If you can't, just do it by hand. If you need a deer skin, you don't want to shoot a deer, go to a slaughterhouse, call around to some and find out, or talk to someone who hunts, ask them where they're getting deers processed. Call that place and ask them if you can get a deer skin or 2. All you do is, if they hand it to you raw, just put it in a bag and freeze it. Otherwise, they'll probably hand you a frozen one. It'll probably be a thing like where they tell you what day of the week they skin deer, and you can come there, and it may be somewhere between free to $10 a hide. You know, I've heard a lot of people getting them for like $2 each, so it's not an expensive thing. And then whatever tanning solution, based on the techniques you want to go, is how much it would cost. I think I'm probably spending between $10 and $15 for each one of these, probably total cost. I think the slaughterhouse charged $2 to give it back to you. I think it's because they keep up with it and put it in their freezer, so it takes up a little room. Then whatever portion of your tanning solution, you've got the salt, the citric acid, you know, I don't know, $10 or $15 is probably where you'd be at. But that's pretty much it. Does a lot of rambling there at the end. But if you're interested in doing this and you're still watching the video, you probably want to hear it all anyway. There's no way I can answer everything that you might be wondering, so you can try asking me in the comments, and I'll see what I can do about an answer. Otherwise, just watch another video of somebody that's more advanced in doing this and get their opinion, or you can Google and just end up on some of these taxidermy type forums, and there'll be a lot of information on their opinions on the different tanning solutions and techniques you can use. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe, like, do all that. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you kind of think about this type of a video, and you can check the description as well. I might put some links down there to some stuff if I think of anything that could be of interest. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you all for tuning into my video. If you've not already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for when I post videos. If you would like to further support the channel, consider buying my ebook on buying cheap houses for yourself or a friend. I'll have that link as well as other options for monetary contributions in the description below. I would also enjoy hearing from you, so feel free to leave a comment and share my videos with those who would enjoy them.